Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is April, and my spirits and I together, we are called Austria Standards. Welcome to the Conspiritsees podcast. I want to talk a little bit about Kurt Cobain and what really happened prior to him passing. What Spirit had shown me and explained to me was a lot of different things. I did a live reading, but just due to privacy things, I'm not going to drop the recording. I'm going to talk about what Spirit showed me. So I'll walk you through it. Kurt Cobain is a Pisces sun. He has a Cancer moon. The people that were pretty fairly close to him, especially his partner, you all know who that is, a very famous singer. This individual is a Cancer sun, and I believe that she too had a Cancer moon, ironically. There are some scorpionic placements in his natal chart as well as hers, so I can see why the two of them were drawn together. It was kind of like it felt very fated and very destined. There was something about the two of them that understood each other, and they were meant to cross paths. There was no coincidence in this. What I found very odd as I was navigating my way through the reading was the weight of denser, heavier, energetic energy, like almost like a lower vibrational current of some things. There was also this tension around this particular contract with Kurt. I don't know what was happening prior to him passing, but I do know that there was a very in-depth, obligated contract that he had to finish, he had to do, and he wanted out of this contract, or he didn't want to be a part of this. I also found it very interesting that he, for whatever reason, Spirit was showing me this particular lawyer, or a lawyer he was talking to, and where shit was really hitting the fan is where I saw, as we were tracking this, just in a spiritual timeline from what I can see prior to him passing, he was in a facility. It was all broadcasted on the news. It was a rehab center. And this is where I feel very paranoid. This is like, if I'm him, I feel fucking paranoid. I feel like the phone keeps ringing. I don't know who's calling. I'm getting paranoid. I feel like I'm being watched. And I feel like I'm not safe here. I feel like somebody could just come in and do something. And I feel like I need to get out of here because I need to speak to a lawyer. I need to look at my legal things. I need to, I'm feeling very scared. And so I think everything was coming to a head for him at that particular time. I think, I believe he passed in Aries season. I think it was April 5th. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember. For some reason, I remember it was the month of April. That I do remember for Kurt.
April 5th.
April 5th. So I was right. Okay. I knew it was Aries season. The rehabilitation center thing was interesting because when he was in that facility is when the phone would ring and I would just feel like this chill come over my body. Every time that phone would ring or someone would come into the room, it was like he knew something was wrong. And the feeling I was getting is I went out of this contract. I feel that there was problems in his marriage. I feel like the two of them had either grown apart or there was this maybe they were not seeing eye to eye in a financial standpoint or a status standpoint. And I almost feel like the two of these individuals, from the partner who is the Cancer and Kurt who is the Pisces, I feel like the two of these individuals, yes, were divinely orchestrated to meet. But I feel like the in-betweens, there were these lessons that they had to learn. But I do not believe that it was meant to come down to this. What was the main reason behind Kurt's passing was greed, for sure. He was worth more dead than alive. He didn't want to be a part of the contract. There was big contract, whether this is concerts, this is like something he had to do. I feel very obligated here and I don't want to get involved in it. And I also get this feeling I'm losing control of my relationship, or I'm in this feeling of like, why do I feel unsafe? And I also want to bring up that I feel like times that were leading to him going to the rehabilitation center, I feel like somebody was like offering me medicine, offering me drugs. And when they were offering me the medicine and the drugs, I kind of felt in this way that maybe it was a different dosage. So almost like I'm being drugged or I'm being not quite poisoned, but it just felt awkward in there. And I feel like there's people that were around me, we'll just say, that kind of knew what this was going on. And here's the twist of this whole entire thing. I feel like somebody came into his house the very day he passed, and they knew how to come in and out. There's also a code for some kind of, whether this is a safe, a lock, or something. And I feel like there was a paper with a letter, and it was put off to the side, then taken out. But somebody was in the house prior to Kurt going in there. He did die at the house. That's the feeling that spirit was, that's the feeling I have, and that's what spirit was showing me. My spirits were showing me somebody went into the safe, opened this safety box or something, and there was this letter, and then it was finished. I do not believe the letter that they found at the time he passed is something he wrote, something he did. I feel like there was something about it that feels very fake. And I almost feel like when I look at his face in a spiritual sense, he just goes, just rolls his eyes like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, it's so, like, almost like this is so stupid. Whoever was in this house, it was two people. I do feel like there's a connection to, like, either, I want to bring up someone that was around his child a lot. So I'm very well aware that Kurt had a daughter. And there is a connection to this person who knows something of the daughter, or maybe even watched the daughter, maybe even was someone who stepped in when the daughter was sick. So this is a trusted person that you would open the door, the keys, like you, however it was, a code to get into this, into there's, I keep saying numbers as if there's a code to get into a gate. And then I see a code or numbers to get into a safe. The gate was the main thing. I'm almost wondering if there was, like, when I think about it to this day, I'm like, I wonder if there was a code or some numbers to get into a bigger gate to get into this house. I would love to see a photograph of his actual house, because I feel like I'm seeing like literally these two pieces of, like, you know how a gate goes like this and it just kind of goes like this and it opens from the middle out. And there's like something off to the side where I'm hitting buttons, like as if I'm like trying to get in. Somebody knew this code. Somebody knew how to get into the gate. This is the feeling I'm having. There's also a large body of water nearby this location, or I feel like I can almost smell water. Like there's this energetic feeling of water nearby. So I will honor that. But this is kind of like the remote view that I'm getting as to walk me through it. I do feel that his body was moved. I feel like he was injected something and it was by surprise. I don't think this is something he did on his own. And I feel like it was a very heavy dose of like very powerful drugs. And I feel like these two people that were already in the house, he didn't feel blindsided, but he was like wondering why they were there. And they were just talking to him, and then they did that to him. And I also feel like there is involvement with his music industry and the partner, the cancer, his partner. There is an odd thread of something between these two entities. Like this person who is his partner that he's married to, and this like entity, we'll call it, like the music industry, the label, whatever the hell you want to call it. Okay. Now I feel like these two sets of this person and this like contract or whatever the hell is connected to Kurt's business and record stuff and all of that, I feel that there was some kind of like legal problem, or they knew something wasn't right, because Kurt did not want to agree to this one thing. He was like, I'm not doing that. I want to go off and do my own thing, or I'm done with this kind of pressure. I'm not interested in the money. Almost like, excuse my language, fuck your money. Like, I don't care. I just don't care anymore. Because he's starting to see the handwriting on the wall with his relationship. He's seeing that the people around him aren't supporting him. I feel like my mental health was strained because I had all this pressure to perform, all these obligations and interviews. I felt like this was just too much for me. And I feel like this person that I'm with was all about that. And I was beginning to see that that's not my thing anymore. Or maybe at one point it was great, but he just wanted a break from it all. And I do feel that his body was almost like someone was holding his two hands and his 2 feet, and they moved him to another room. And I do not feel that he shot himself. This is a very elongated kind of type of weapon that was used on him. And the level of like drugs or whatever the hell was in his body, okay, I cannot lift my hand to pull any trigger. There would be no way that you could physically do that. That's what I'm seeing, and that's the message I'm getting. And then Spirit kind of walked me through, like, I feel like I had to reach really far to grab this trigger, or it's like looks like almost like a broomstick. Like maybe this is not like a little pistol. This is like definitely a longer weapon. Okay. Now, if I'm full of drugs, how can I pull that trigger? I can't even lift my hand. I'm like spaghetti. I'm like comatose. So, people can say he was roofied. People can say I just feel like this is a very powerful dose of drugs that was injected into him. And I do believe that you're showing, okay, my co-host here is showing me the gate. That's the gate to get into his house.
That's the gate, and that would be a place where you punch in the pin code.
That's somebody
knew the gate code.
That's exactly what I saw.
Yeah.
And I knew that, and it's weird because I was gonna say I did feel that the gate was wooden. For what I saw, like wood, like oak or something. That's wild. Okay.
And it was very close to the ocean. Like it's a block away from the ocean too.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Because I can smell like almost like water, like that salt, like I don't know, or lake water or something. I just felt it.
So if you look at the house, like there's the sea is right next to it. You can see it, or a lake of some sort.
Oh, I do see it. That is so interesting. Okay. Now, I do know that there was a note that was, it looks like a suicide note, but I feel like this is just like something stupid. Like if like I'm him and I'm looking at this, I'm almost like again, I'm like rolling my freaking eyes. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this is so dumb. And I do believe that someone, pulled the trigger and this is where it went into the upper neck area, into the mouth, and into the head region. So I hate to be so graphic, but this is what I saw. And then I also believe that one of the people that did this is someone who is directly connected to like a person that they trusted, that would be like someone that knows their child. That's the feeling I have. I also feel like I'm seeing money, exchanges of money for hush hush. I call it hush money, we'll just say. And it's between 3 people. They're showing me number 3. This is what I saw. It has something to do with this entity of the music industry, contracts, maybe it's a label, people involved, I don't know, higher ups. I feel like there's something odd about the partner who's the Cancer, who is well aware of all this going on, okay? And then I also feel that there is a person who either had cash, money, or bank card who was using it for other things as an exchange to be quiet. And this was the agreement that they had, and everything was to be hush hush and quiet. So they made this big thing out to be like, oh, he was mentally unstable. He hurt himself. He, everyone was expecting this from him. He went off the deep end. I do not believe that this man did this to himself. I believe his own family or someone in his family knows that this is dangerously suspicious. I do believe there is someone that is older that's with him on the other side. And this feels like this could be a grandfather or great grandfather. It's someone that I feel almost looks at this man like a son. And he's united on the other side with the rest of his ancestors. And I feel like this person who is his partner, I don't feel like this person has a long time to live. I don't know how old this woman would be at this point, but I'm feeling like there's not a whole heck of a lot of time. Maybe this is because of the way they treat themselves physically. I don't know exactly what's behind all that, but I will say, how old is she?
59.
59. Wow. I don't feel like this person has a long time to live. I really don't. Very odd. I just feel like there's like legal things involved in this, and I feel like things were moved around. I do feel like he wanted out of his relationship at that time. I do believe he was heading towards a divorce, and it was moving fast. I do believe he was paranoid and scared when he was in the rehabilitation center. He felt like somebody was coming for him. I do feel like he was threatened, and I do believe that there was like, if you don't go along with this, then we're going to A, B, C, and D. So he was starting to get a little nervous. So he was trying to go around some of the stuff so he could do things on his own without using the same connections legally. That means he was trying to get to a lawyer. What's very odd is there's this particular lawyer and there's another lawyer, and I can't figure out if it's like his lawyer or if it's like her lawyer or who the hell this is. I don't know why I just heard the word cherry. I'm wondering if I heard the word cherry. Maybe this lady's name it sounds like Sherry or Carrie or something very odd. It's a lawyer. I thought I heard Cherry. Then my Smiths are like, no, Cherie or Sherry. Very odd. Okay. Anyway, you guys do a message with
Kurt Cobain's entertainment attorney was named Rosemary Carroll. Rosemary.
I just got the chills right now. Stop. What's the name?
Rosemary.
What the heck? Okay, so maybe they're trying to tell me the name. Rosemary?
Rosemary. Oh.
This woman knows something. Honestly, I feel like she's maybe the...
They both believe that they both dispute the official findings of the suicide and believe Cobain was in fact murdered.
Of course he was.
Well, no, that's just what they
say. Holy gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing. If he was to get a divorce and he was still alive, he would have all his rights to. There would be a little bit more flexibility with his money. But as long as he's married, she gets a cut of that. And then if he passes, she gets all of it. So I know that there's some wills and stuff where they talk about, okay, if you commit suicide, like, then that means you don't get any of the money or the life insurance policy or whatever. But I don't know what kind of contract that was set up there. But I also feel like somebody between these people, whether this is the music industry, we all know the music industry is completely dark, okay, energetically. Whether this is the partner of his who's the sunshine cancer, okay. I'm not going to say that person's name. So, but I will say there was some kind of like ritualistic practice, like, and I'm not saying like human sacrifices and stuff. That's not where I'm going with it. I feel like this is more about dark magic. Somebody was really involved in the cults or did something strange. That's the feeling I have. And I feel like because of those things that were manipulated, it didn't work for him. In fact, it worked against Kurt. He was very vulnerable for that. For those that are listening, if you are in fact a water sign, especially if you have scorpionic placements, which in fact Kurt did, and so did his partner, the Cancer, sun sign Cancer, she did as well. When you have certain scorpionic placements or your sun sign Scorpio, or at least more water signs, you are much more, far more sensitive to the darker occult. So if you feel like you're not doing very good, or you're feeling you're more depressed than normal, or you feeling, like you've lost your personality to some degree, like something is influencing you. It very well could be people sending stuff your way. They call it psychic attacks. This is very real. And I feel like this did not help Kurt. I honestly believe that if he was able to get away from certain people, I believe to this day he would still be alive. And I'm not going to say who those certain people are. But I do feel that there is someone, because I see this child, which I think would be his little daughter, but now she's older. But I do sense that there was someone in the house that either had watched this child or was like, oh, your daughter's sick, I'll watch the baby for you while you run around and do what you need to do. Like somebody knew their way into that home because they've been in there because they watched the child. So they were paid to be quiet. I also feel that there is someone who passed away that was talking about what really happened, and they ended up in a bad place. And it might have been somebody who knew the drugs, the streets, the underground life that maybe some of these people were involved in. Because anytime you're involved with people that do drugs, there's always that bad egg around, but this particular person wasn't quite like a bad egg. They just got caught up with the wrong people and was talking too much. And I think this person ended up passing away because this person is waving on the other side like, hey, I was taken out because I was talking. For whatever reason, I'm seeing a train. So maybe somebody died in a train wreck, somebody died because of something weird, but I saw a connection or correlation to a train or train tracks, or someone hung around on the tracks is what they're showing me. I feel that there is a connection to 3 particular guns. Kurt owned 3 particular guns. They were inside or located in what we'd call like a closet or a certain area, and somebody knew where those guns were. Very odd. But there's 3 particular guns. And I feel like this is not something that was not normal. I feel like I need to protect myself and my daughter and my family. So I feel like this is just like a normal thing that he would do to go get these particular things. And I also feel that maybe he was interested in, like, how people hunt and fish. He might have been someone who did that, because this kind of seems very, very normal to own these things, but also to protect his family. And then keep in mind, he was already paranoid months and months prior to this because of, the condition that his relationship was in, and then him wanting to get out of this contract. It's very easy for Piscean energy to be very self-deceptive, where they're like in and very committed, but then at the end of the day, they could just like emotions can change from one minute to the next. And, they could change their minds. Like, the darker side of Piscean energy is where you can lie to yourself. You're very self-deceptive. And I feel like he was like, okay, I'm going to try my best. I'm in. But then he feels like, no, I'm out. I don't like these things. We're not seeing eye to eye. And I believe that the reason for his passing was greed. And they were making money off of him. So this is just my feelings. And this is like the energetic connections that I can see, the people involved for whatever reason. And I will just blatantly say the partner that he was with too, I believe had quite a few affairs with some big people in the industry. And I feel there was a connection.
Oh, wow.
What?
This is the man.
What are you talking about?
His name is Eldon Hoke.
Who's Eldon?
He was in a band that used to play in the area, and he said he was offered money by a specific person, and he died on the train tracks. He was murdered in Riverside in 97.
Riverside, California.
He was going around saying, and he passed lie detector tests, saying that he was offered $50,000 or more to kill Kurt Cobain.
Son of a bitch.
And it's right here.
Yeah, because I was
in 97, after his final performance, they and filming for a show documentary, Boat was found dead on the railroad tracks in Riverside, California. He was decapitated in an accident.
That is absolutely wild. Yeah, because as I was talking, because I'm just recapping on my reading, and I didn't want to post the live because when I'm channeling, sometimes I blurt things and I want to protect myself a little bit. So my spirit says you can talk about it, but you're to recap, but you're not to use certain names. But as I'm talking about this, I'm kind of still in the zone a little bit. And I saw this man waving like, hey, hey, hey. And he showed me I'm seeing train tracks. Oh my goodness.
He was a drummer and he sang too.
Yeah, he ran around with that crowd. That's the feeling I'm getting.
He grew up in Washington.
Because he went like this. Like as I'm talking, it's like, hey, like trying to get my attention. I can see him in my third eye as I'm kind of getting this information out and just recapping. That is insane.
Yeah. And he passed lie detectors as saying that he was willing to be paid by a specific person to take care of this.
Yeah. And you know what it is? It has something to do with that record industry. I wonder who signed Nirvana. The other thing I found very interesting is Dave Grohl, this individual. I believe he's a Capricorn. I believe that there was legal problems after Kurt passed for fighting for the rights to this music. I do believe that there was some tension there. I don't know all the legalities and the things that happened behind, after the fact, but I believe that this individual was screwed over in some way. And I believe there was another band member too, right? I think there's another, they were all screwed over.
Yeah.
But they weren't involved. I don't feel that they were involved. I feel that they were completely blindsided. I do believe that they were absolutely devastated.
This is a rabbit hole right here, what I'm looking at.
So we got to do part 2 on this then?
You might want it, because this goes really deep. He knew who the person that did the job. And he states who it is. And the band is a satanic band.
We were just talking about the darker occults, yeah.
He said he's connected to that band.
Yeah, maybe we got to do part 2 on this.
Yeah, this is dark.
I think I'm down.
Yeah.
I just have to be very careful, you guys. For those that are listening, I have to watch the names that I say just to kind of keep things. You guys can just read between the lines a little bit. Once in a while, I get a little cryptic in my delivery. I do this because Spirit asked me to. And I do this because I'm advised to. So I'm just listening to the advice of my spirit team. But I will say that is crazy, because I closed my eyes for 3 seconds and I'm talking and he's going like this, like waving at me. And there's a kind of, I saw a train going.
Well, he's a piece of the puzzle.
So I thought maybe, wow. So he probably knew who it was. Don't be surprised if the connection is directly related to a label. Don't be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He tried to go on many shows. He was like trying to go on any show or any newspaper that was willing to listen to him.
Of course. And because this is absolutely
passed lie detector tests, which is kind of interesting. And he said that he knew the person that did it and he gave a name. And that name leads to that band.
Now, who is the band signed by? Because I keep hearing the label. I'm wondering who that band
is. The label's Devil Vision Motion Picture Company.
Yeah, but there's got to be someone they're piggybacking off of.
Of course.
For the main labels. There's a big corporate main label who's in this thread. That's the feeling I'm getting, and it has something to do with the band. I also feel that there was somebody that was following Kurt. This is the feeling I was getting too. Like, I feel like I was being chased or followed. And because I keep going back to where shit hit the fan is when he went to the rehab center. This is where I feel this panic. And I feel like somebody's threatening my life, or I'm starting to realize that I am vulnerable for passing away, not by my own hands. And I need to get to some legal counsel and legal advice as soon as possible. And that's the feeling and the rush that I'm getting, especially because I'm thinking of my daughter. This is like the energy that comes through. And oh, someone just showed me this image. Like, I feel like I'm like, as if I'm reaching right here, I'm grabbing this lighter right here, right? And I'm going like this. And Spirit just showed me, like, I want to take a towel and go
wipe it off.
Yeah, somebody wiped
fingerprints off.
Yeah, they're wiping fingerprints off.
Cleaning up the place.
Yeah, and then I'm seeing like almost like an image go by of a hand, and someone put the hand where the gun was.
Like they moved everything in.
Yeah, it was set up.
Yeah.
No doubt. Honestly, I want to say this. Kurt Cobain was a beautiful soul. I've had several dreams about him. Like as if like I met him, because I've done a reading on him a few times before, but I wanted to record this live, but some of the stuff that was coming out, I was like, I just feel a little uneasy about, again, dropping it. But just to gracefully nestle through his personality, I feel like he was very much kind of like a black sheep of his family. I don't think his family really truly understood who he was, but he was born to do this. He was destined to do this. I do believe I have an immense connection, if I'm him, to this grandfather or this person he's been reunited with on the other side. And I feel that he was destined for a separation or a legal divorce from his partner, and because he did not agree with these decisions. I feel like I was being harassed. I was being I just kind of feel that it wasn't helping him. You know how you can get to that point in a relationship where you feel like things become extremely toxic? I think he was kind of getting it, and he could see that there was just a lot more going on. But I feel like this contract, whatever I was connected to, whether this is for concerts or I was due to show up, I was due to go, and I was signed into these contracts, and I don't want to do it, and I'm going to do everything I can to get out of it, because he was that upset. And he felt it wouldn't benefit him. He felt it was making him worse, and this pressure to perform. I feel like he's the type of person that I ain't going to do anything unless I feel it, right? That's the feeling I'm getting from him. And he wasn't feeling it anymore. He wanted a break. He just wanted to take a pause and just chill and relax. And then he's like, wanted some more clarity on this personal relationship and what was going on. And he wasn't interested in all this fanning up of like the limelight and stuff like that. He wanted to just kind of step away. And I do feel like he wanted more flexibility with his music. And they weren't giving him that. They just it was like, I keep hearing pressure to perform. You're obligated to be here. Can you imagine if you got all those people that buy all these, like, think about this. Just put yourself in Kurt's shoes for 5 minutes here. And imagine that kind of pressure, that you are not allowed to be sick. You're not allowed to go to rehab and rest. If you got emotional things going on in your private relationship, and you got like a gazillion people waiting for you to show up on a Friday, and you have to perform no matter how bad you feel. And as I'm talking, I want to go straight right to the belly area right here, because I feel like I'm sick, or maybe a gnawing sensation. Like maybe this is like the abuse of drugs or something he did, or he doesn't eat right, or weird stuff like that. But I do feel like he had problems in his sacral chakra. But typically when you have a Cancer moon, you will always have problems with your gut health and your sacral chakra. Because I feel like I'm going right here, like I feel this gnawing or burning. So maybe he had intestinal issues, maybe he had ulcers, maybe he had, diverticulitis, like something with a colon. And I think he wasn't always feeling good, or he didn't know how to handle that kind of pressure to perform, and then to let down that many people, and how much money you lose if you fuck up, if you don't show up. Can you imagine getting a cold? Can you imagine like and then you have all these people waiting on you, So, I think he was kind of over that pressure and he wanted to take a genuine break. He was like, whoa, like, I don't think I'm liking this. But everyone around him was like, no, this is you're in the peak of your success right now. You are not to stop because we're all making money off of you making money. And you need to show up. And he's just like, no, because he was very, very stubborn. He didn't give a fuck. He just wanted to just do what he wanted to do. And he told everyone to fuck off. And he was literally that pissed. And here's the thing. When you think of Piscean people, we think of, oh, they're very soft and they're very sweet. And they are. But if you piss them off, they're not, they're not somebody you want to mess with. So I think he was pretty determined to get out of that rehabilitation center and he took off. And he was making sure that they wouldn't follow him. I believe someone was coming to the rehab or did. I'm wondering if someone visited him at the rehab, but it's like he wanted to get away. And every time that phone would fucking ring, I feel like I'm coming unhinged. Like I'm in this place and I can't get out. And the phone keeps fucking ringing and someone keeps coming in my room and I'm just like, I could just feel myself getting more angry. And he just was like, I could feel him almost go, fuck it. And then I feel like he just took off.
He broke out. He eventually, basically, he broke out and then hopped the wall. And then that's when he went.
But it's because somebody kept fucking calling. And the phone would ring. Yeah. And he'd just be like, I could just feel myself just cringing.
He just wanted to break.
Oh my God. And whoever this is, for all I know, it's his partner. For all I know, maybe there's people higher up, like maybe in his label, the industry, maybe it's a PR person that's like, hey, this doesn't look good, Kurt. You're in a rehabilitation center. Everyone thinks you're losing your shit. We have to say this to cover it up, or we have, and he's just thinking to himself, like, it was coming at him in all different directions, and emotionally, he couldn't handle it. But he was also very scared because I feel like somebody threatened him while he was in that rehabilitation center, And that threat was enough to make me want to bust out and get my hands on my own goddamn lawyer. Because he didn't want to share a lawyer with that person, which is that sun sign Cancer, his partner. God forbid he had to share a lawyer because they know too much. So he wanted separate. So he was looking for some type, because I'm seeing two lawyers and I'm seeing a female, but I'm seeing another lawyer that I think could be a male. There's also two people following him. There's one private investigator and there's another, like I guess you call a private investigator. And they're both following him, but they both have different intents. One feels much more sincere. One actually knows and is very well aware of the true story of what really happened. The other one, I think, was just more like, this felt like it was a little more deceptive, or like, okay, he's coming, open the gate, or are you in there? Like almost like I'm a walkie-talkie, like walking around the premises like, oh, is he in? Because he's being spied on. Yeah. And this person, Pisces people are very psychic. With a Cancer moon, forget it. I have a Cancer moon. Psychic as fuck. When shit's popping off. And this man knew that there was somebody following him, and he was right. And there was very unusual purchases. I'm seeing cash being exchanged like this, and then I'm looking at like whether this is like a credit card, looks like a piece, like a plastic credit card, and someone's running the card that isn't him. So there's something odd about that as well. Maybe perhaps we can do a part 2. What do you want to do a part 2 on? Was what's that guy's name again?
Who?
The person that was waving at me in the middle of this recap on Kurt. What was his name?
His name was Eldon Hoke.
Eldon Hoke. He is my spirit showed me a train and showed me the tracks. So yeah, he's definitely deceased, and maybe we'll
died in 97.
97.
So it was after, obviously.
Yeah. I will. Maybe we could do a part 2 on it. I don't know if I want to open that up, especially if there's a lot of.
That's wrote.
It's a little darker than I'd like to get into.
Considering the person they pointing to was in a satanic band.
Yeah. I'll think about it, guys. I might do part 2 on this. I got to fill it through with my spirits because, sometimes, when things get really dark like that, you want to be a little more precautious. But I'll sit with it, and then maybe we'll carry this over in conversation part 2. Maybe we'll just talk about it. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, listen, thank you so much for tuning in for this Conspiracies podcast. Again, my name is April, and my spirits and I together, we are called Austria's Sounds. If you're interested in a reading with me, please check me out on Instagram. I'm always over there at Austria Astoundance, or check me out on my website for my services at austriaastoundance.net. Until then, everybody, on to the next episode.